German males between 17 and 45 cannot leave the country for more than 3 months without military permission. Latvia brought conscription back in 2024, and Russia just raised its conscription age to 30. Your country's draft may be back too, but hold on, won't another passport draft-proof your kids? Not exactly. The rules behind military conscription are not what most investors think. In this video, you'll learn the 12 major countries that will never draft your kids to war, ranked from least to most useful, with the single most powerful option saved for the very end. But first, some background. By our count, 60 to 85 countries currently conscript at least part of their citizenry, depending on how you count de jure systems that haven't been activated in decades. This counts among them the post-Soviet region, the Middle East, parts of East Asia, and most of Northern Europe. France, Belgium and Poland announced new voluntary national service tracks in 2025. Sweden and Denmark are expanding their gender-neutral models. And Russia raised the upper conscription age from 27 to 30, effective in 2024. The direction of conscription movements is one way, including in Germany, where a new law passed by the Bundestag in 2025 requires every male aged 17 to 45 to get permission from a military career centre before leaving the country for more than 3 months. Questionnaires started going out in 2026. If your son holds citizenship in Germany, Greece, Turkey, South Korea, Russia or Israel, the clock is already running. Now, most investors get this next part wrong. Conscription laws follow citizenship, not residency. So, holding a passport from a country that doesn't conscript does not extinguish the obligation of citizenship in one that does. A German-American dual citizen living in Munich is subject to the same conscription obligation as one who holds only the German passport. The Bundeswehr does not care about his second nationality. Greece extends military obligation to all male citizens aged 19 to 45, including those who naturalise through descent. Turkey applies the same rule to citizens aged 20 to 41, including new citizens by investment. Russia conscripts dual citizens with no exemption. And finally, Israel applies its IDF service obligation to anyone holding Israeli citizenship, including new immigrants under the law of return. Then there's South Korea, which is the most ruthless of the lot. Male dual nationals must renounce Korean citizenship by March 31st of the year they turn 18. Miss that deadline by a single day, and the renunciation is closed until military service is completed or until you age out in your late 30s. There are documented cases of Korean Americans who have lived their entire adult lives in the United States, then got called up after a routine visit or a birth registration in Korea. So buying a Caribbean passport for your German-Italian son does not, by itself, draft-proof him. The second passport is the entry ticket. The plan is next. By the way, this is exactly the conversation IMI sovereigns are working through every day. This is our private club for those serious about building passport portfolios, diversifying tax exposure, and getting properly sovereign. Inside, our citizenship catalogue maps every legal path to citizenship across all 196 countries, whether that's by birth, descent, marriage, naturalisation, investment and exception. If that's the room you want to be in, the link is in the description. Now, the 12 countries that will not subscript your kids. Number 12, Costa Rica. Costa Rica abolished its military entirely in 1948 and has not raised one since. There is no draft to escape because, well, there is no army. Residency comes through 3 main tracks. 1. The pensionado category for retirees with at least $1,000 per month in lifetime pension income. 2. The rentista category for those with $2,500 per month in passive income for at least 2 years. 3. And the inversionista category for anyone making a $150,000 qualifying investment in business, real estate or government-backed projects. Naturalization is then possible after 7 years of legal residence, with basic Spanish proficiency and a civics test required at the final stage. This works for families with younger sons. For an imminent conscription concern, the timeline doesn't necessarily work. Panama has no military and no conscription, having dissolved its army in 1990 by constitutional amendment. 3 residency tracks are most accessible. 1. The qualified investor visa grants immediate permanent residency for a $300,000 real estate investment, a $500,000 securities investment, or a $750,000 fixed-term bank deposit. 2. The Friendly Nations visa, recently restructured, is available to nationals of some 60 allied countries on a $200,000 real estate or fixed deposit basis. 3. Pensionados qualify with $1,000 per month in lifetime pension income. Now, citizenship eligibility opens after 5 years of permanent residency, with the actual presence requirement enforced more strictly than it used to be. Plus, naturalization is not a foregone conclusion. IMI Pro Mikhail Thorup claims you must create substantial ties to the country to qualify, including language, business, family, and other connections. Like Costa Rica, Panama is more like a build it now, use it later option. Number 10. Uruguay. No conscription. Uruguay is arguably the most stable democracy in the Americas. Often called the Switzerland of South America for its banking culture, predictable politics, and quiet high net worth community. Residency comes through a simple proof of $1,500 in monthly income, among a few other routes. The naturalization path requires 3 years of legal residence for married couples, or 5 years for individuals. The strong Uruguayan passport offers visa-free access to roughly 150 destinations, including Schengen, the UK, and Japan, plus full Mercosur settlement rights across South America, one of the most underrated quiet havens on the planet. Number 9. Argentina. Argentina suspended active conscription in 1995 and has not reactivated it since. Standard naturalization to this strong G20 passport is one of the fastest in the world, so this could be an option under pressure. This path requires just 2 years of legal residence in Argentina, with no major investment requirement. Worth mentioning that the current Milei administration is formalizing a dedicated citizenship by investment program through Decree 524/2025. Early reports place the entry point between $350,000 and $500,000. The Argentine passport unlocks Mercosur settlement rights plus visa-free Schengen access. Even without the citizenship by investment program, Argentina is one of the world's fastest routes to a non-conscripting citizenship. Number 8. Paraguay. Paraguay launched a new investor pass during an official mission to Brazil in 2026, which should accelerate the path to citizenship for incoming investors. The threshold is $150,000 in a qualifying tourism investment, with a slightly higher requirement for real estate. Permanent residency is granted on approval, and investors are eligible for citizenship after just 3 years of legal residence. Paraguayan citizenship delivers Mercosur settlement rights and visa-free Schengen access. Paraguay does have conscription rules on the books, but they are selective and largely unenforced in practice, and dual nationals living abroad face essentially zero realistic exposure. For a family who wants a low-cost investment with a 3-year path to a non-conscripting citizenship, this is one of the better value-for-money options in Latin America. Number 7. Mauritius. Mauritius does not conscript anymore and is one of the only 2 African countries with Schengen visa-free access, the other being its Indian Ocean neighbour, Seychelles. The main route into Mauritius is the 20-year permanent residency permit, granted on a $375,000 real estate purchase in an approved real estate development. Property investments above $500,000 unlock additional family inclusion. The premium visa offers a renewable one-year stay for retirees and remote workers with no major investment requirement. After holding permanent residency for 5 years and meeting physical presence requirements, naturalization is possible. For an African passport with no draft, strong banking infrastructure, and serious mobility, this is the cleanest option on the continent, yet not easy. Naturalization is an uphill battle in Mauritius. Number 6. São Tomé and Príncipe. São Tomé and Príncipe launched its Citizenship by Investment program in August 2025 with a $90,000 donation threshold for a single applicant, plus additional fees for dependents. Processing infrastructure is still being built out, and due diligence procedures are still maturing. Regardless, the country has no military draft and no plans for one. Visa-free mobility is limited compared to the Caribbean Citizenship by Investment nations or Vanuatu, but the entry point matches the cheapest CBI on the market. For families looking at the absolute lowest cost into a non-conscripting citizenship, São Tomé is now on the map, especially for German investors, as they're the largest market share so far. Watch this one carefully over the next 12 months. Number 5. Nauru. Nauru's Economic and Climate Resilience Citizenship program processes applications in 3 to 4 months, which is among the fastest in the world. The standard $115,000 contribution is currently reduced to $90,000 under a limited time offer, running through the end of June 2026. The donation is non-refundable and goes directly into climate adaptation infrastructure on what is one of the most climate-vulnerable nations on Earth. The country has no military and no draft. The Nauruan passport is modest, with visa-free access to a smaller set of destinations than Vanuatu or the Caribbean. But it does the specific job we're talking about today. For families needing speed at a low cost, Nauru is one of the most aggressive plays available. Number 4. Vanuatu. Vanuatu has long been the fastest citizenship by investment program in the world, with applications processed in some cases within a handful of weeks. The Vanuatu Development Support Program runs from $130,000 for a single applicant, scaling to roughly $180,000 for a family of 4. There's no draft and no military to speak of. The trade-off, however, is mobility. Vanuatu lost Schengen visa-free access in 2023 after the EU raised due diligence concerns, and visa privileges in a few other jurisdictions have come under pressure since. But for sheer speed of acquisition, almost nothing beats it. If your son turns 18 in 6 weeks and you need a passport in his hand before then, Vanuatu could be a realistic option. Number 3. Dominica. Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program runs from $200,000 in donation contribution for a single applicant, with real estate routes starting at $200,000 in an approved development. Processing typically completes in 6 months or less. No draft, no military service obligation, ever. Dominica is one of the 5 Caribbean CBI countries, alongside Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis, and all but one operate similar donation plus real estate programs at comparable price points, all with zero conscription. Antigua and Barbuda is generally most cost-effective for larger families and is generally considered the most crypto-friendly of the bunch. St. Lucia offers a government bond route. Number 2. St. Kitts and Nevis. Remaining in the Caribbean, we now jump to St. Kitts and Nevis, which runs the oldest Citizenship by Investment program in the world, launched in 1984. No conscription ever. The sustainable island state contribution starts at $250,000 for a single applicant donation. The real estate route runs from $325,000 in an approved development with a 7-year holding period. Processing typically runs 6 to 8 months. The 2026 reforms introduce a new residency requirement for the first time in the programme's history, which tightens it slightly but does not change the underlying offering of non-conscription citizenship. And finally, number 1. Ireland. Ireland is the cleanest single passport in the world for the specific purpose we are discussing, as well as a few others. We covered why Irish citizenship is arguably the world's strongest in the video on the left side of your screen. Now, there has never been military conscription in the modern Irish state. No draft system and zero political indication of one coming. The trade-off is that there is no investment route or quick route to citizenship. Ireland closed its immigrant investor programme in 2023, and there is no plan to revive it. The remaining paths are slower but durable. Citizenship by descent is available to anyone with a parent born in Ireland or a grandparent born in Ireland through registration on the Foreign Births Register. Naturalisation is available after 5 years of legal residence on a work permit, Stamp 4, or critical skills employment, and citizenship by marriage opens after 3 years for spouses of Irish citizens. The Irish passport then delivers full EU settlement rights, plus unique entry rights into the United Kingdom through the Common Travel Area. For a family that can plan early enough, Ireland is the most powerful single passport on this entire list for protecting a son or daughter from any draft, anywhere, for the rest of their life. So that's the list, but there is a catch. Avoiding military conscription is just one of 28 rules sovereign individuals should follow to maintain their freedom and privacy. And IMI wrote the playbook on all of them. Banking, taxation, asset diversification, jurisdictional exposure, the works. We covered every one in the video on your screen now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet and hit that bell so you're notified of all our future videos.